Welcome to Badger Beer Report, the interview. I'm here with the interviewer, Wisconsin beer baron, Chris Drosner. How you doing, Chris?
I'm real good. What's up with you?
What's up with you? Really is the question. What do we have going on? This is a special interview because I'm actually here, but also what's going on?
Well, we've got some big news to break today. Well, they'll be breaking the news. I don't know. Do you know what's up? Go ahead.
Well, I wanted you to give the little the news blurb, and then I can give the background.
Okay. Well, we've got news. Solemn Oath Brewing of Naperville, Illinois, is coming to Wisconsin, not for distribution, but for a taproom and brewery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the former home of the dearly departed 1840 Brewing in Bayview, Milwaukee. So this is pretty exciting, Greg.
Yes. And Solemn Oath was established in 2012 by none other than John Barley. Love that. And
Really?
Dan Ray as director of brewing operations. Based in Naperville, Illinois, the brewery plans to open a taproom in Milwaukee in 2016, adding to its existing locations in Naperville and Logan Square, Chicago. The company produces, Chris, about 6,000 barrels annually, and its brand profile includes Solemn Oath Brewing, Hidden Hand Brewing, didn't know this, City Water Hard Seltzer, and Stay Blue Sparkling Water. Solemn Oath has received numerous awards, including 19 Small Regional Brewery number 19 in Small Regional Brewery and Craft Beer and Brewing Magazine's Best in Beer 2024 and Best in Show for Val d'Or at the wonderful Festival of Wood and Barrel Aged Beer in 2023. They have notable collaborations with many different breweries in the Chicago area and outside of the Chicago area. They are one of Chicago's best known craft brewers, Chris.
Yeah, this is exciting. It's an exciting get for Wisconsin.
Yeah, we're excited to have John here, and we are excited to welcome Solemn Oath into the Wisconsin beer market. So with that, we will bring on John Barley, and I will. Hi, John. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Excellent.
John, the Badger Beer Report.
Yeah, thank you.
Chris, have a good interview.
All right, we will.
Cheers.
Thanks, Greg. All right, John, welcome to Wisconsin, I guess. I mean, welcome back to Wisconsin. Why Milwaukee for Solemn Oath?
Well, I'm actually from the area. I grew up north of Milwaukee in Mequon, and it's always been a special spot. I went to college in Chicago down at DePaul University, but grew up in Wisconsin. So, with the brewery starting back in 2012, it was always a dream and always a vision that we would come back and bring back Solemn Oath and do something in my home state. So we're excited to have that opportunity now, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, okay, so this Wisconsinophilia is kind of a theme with Solemn Oath a little bit. I know, like the tap room in Chicago that you opened in 2021 actually has like a up north kind of like decor and vibe, right? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, the Solemn Oath has always kind of evolved. We've never had this kind of specific vision of what it had to be. It's always been kind of a reflection of the people that are a part of it in a certain era. And when when we're building a home and we're building a spot, I'm going to, really bring to life something like what we did in Logan Square. It's going to be inspired from my experiences. It's like we call it like a hybrid of like a European, pub. There's lots of like great wood and, some really good feeling and texture to it. And then / Northwoods, Wisconsin dive bar. We've got like an oil painting that's literally on the shelves that lived on our illustrator's basement or basement wall for years, for 2 years or so, that he slowly painted these shelves because, when I go to some spot in northern Wisconsin, and I love seeing like an old scene, like a still life scene that's been painted on the walls themselves, as opposed to even just like something that's framed and hanging on the wall. So that integration and those little kind of things are the kind of things that inspire me, and that's what we've brought to Solemn Oath. So we've always had that kind of Wisconsin edge woven into it, because that's part of who I am.
Yeah, and you've been you've been shipping beer to Wisconsin since pretty early. I mean, in a brewery's life. I mean, in 2014 was when you first opened up, and I believe there was a little hiatus in the middle there, but you've been. I mean, your beer's been in Wisconsin for a long time, and I mean, I remember even back then you were talking about like, we really want to do something in Wisconsin, and your Wisconsin ties were a big part of that. But talking about it years ago and this coming to pass are very different things from a business perspective and timing and everything. How did this actually come to be this time?
Yeah, like you mentioned, we've always had it in the back of our mind. We've come close on 2 different opportunities over the years that just didn't quite get closed out for different reasons. Always Milwaukee. That was always the target for us to do something in Milwaukee, and this one was a chance that as a fan of 1840s beers and everything that Kyle had accomplished, I think us taking over that space and doing something the way that we operate, I think it's going to be a good fit for the community there, and we look forward to having that chance to kind of find our own ground and earn the respect of the Bayview community. So, I think this coming around, we've been talking for 5 or 6 months and looking around the Milwaukee area, and with this opportunity, this feels like the right fit. This feels like where we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. When I mean, obviously 1840 that was a tough one to lose. But I mean, like, when you heard about that, was it like, okay, it's go time? I mean, I don't want to make absolutely not like making light or creating an opportunity here, but when you heard that space was going to be available, was it like immediate, like we got to go after that, or was it like, oh yeah, this is here now, kind of in a broader sense of like a longer term but less specific search?
We always had our kind of ear to the ground. We wanted opportunities and spaces that were that hit some specific specs that we don't need to get into, but like with their announcement, we certainly reached out. I certainly reached out pretty quickly directly to Kyle and just inquired. I don't.
Yeah. Is that what's the ownership situation of that building? Was he leasing, or was that did 1840 own that building?
No. It's a lease situation.
Okay.
So we worked with our new partner and the landlord there to.
Gotcha. And obviously, there's a decision to be made here. A lot of decisions to be made about a move like this. One of them, obviously, the answer was yes. We are going to brew in this location. It's not just a tap room. What were you thinking about what were you thinking about as you were making that decision, or was it an easy thing, or why did you decide to do brewing here and not just have a tap room?
Well, there's no existing hot side in that facility, so it's not a full takeover for that. We are going to be right out of the gates doing barrel aging, and that the hot side component is something that we're gonna edge into and phase into at some point. So we're working with the infrastructure that's there already, right? But I think we a lot of the ethos of us coming into Milwaukee is not just we're an established Chicago and Chicagoland brewery that's going to be coming up. A lot of people in Wisconsin don't know Solemn Oath. They don't know who I am or that I'm from the area. I think coming in, it's really important for us to make sure we're doing it in the right way. We don't we want to earn the respect of the beer community there. We've got a lot of friends up there that are brewing beer, but that we've done collaborations with and all that sort of thing. But the beer focused customers and craft centric customers, like, we've got to earn their respect. We've got to make sure that we're coming in hat in hand and showing them what we're capable of and how we bring our ethos and independent mindset to what we do with beer, and earn the respect of the community around it. And I think us doing, we're going to be doing some, getting some barrel aged product. We do a lot of barrel aging down in Chicago and in Naperville, and making sure that we're doing some unique things for the Bayview space. We've got other plans to make sure we're making some Wisconsin-made beer as well. So it's I understand that beer community, and I know that nothing's assumed, and we need to earn our place in that. And we're not going to do it any other way other than once we're confident that once people get to know us, get to experience us at our new location, that we're going to create converts and make them fans of Solemn Oath. We're confident in that experience and our ability to do that. But it's an awesome opportunity. I love the Milwaukee community. I love the Wisconsin beer community, and from what Central Waters is doing to Third Space and their success over the last 7, 8, 9 years. And I went to high school with Kevin. I went to high school with Kyle. Like, I've known a lot of these guys for quite a long time, and we're excited to find our place within it and do it in the right way. We're the new guys coming in, so we've got to earn some respect.
How do you do that? Like, I mean, you are, I mean, mostly a new audience. I mean, obviously, your beers have been here for a while, but like that kind of ethos you talk about, and the trust, and like, what does that look like in a tap room?
Yeah, I mean, the obviously the quality of the people that we're bringing in to work in that space, or hiring there and finding our crew, right? So we've done it in Naperville for 13 years. We opened up our Chicago location in the city. That was a unique challenge in the fact that we were a Western suburban brewery that was coming into the city. So, we've been through a version of this before, where we have to come in and earn the respect of the people that are the city folk, as opposed to the suburbanites. But like, us doing a different version of that, making sure that we've got great people, making sure that we've got great beers, making sure that we're engaging with our space and bringing it to life as a community gathering place. My background to beer really, has a very strong Wisconsin foundation, obviously growing up there. And, when I moved to Chicago and went to DePaul University, my parents moved from Milwaukee. My dad was a lifelong, he worked for Johnson Controls for 45 years. And when I moved to Chicago, him and my mom moved to Brussels, Belgium. So my experiences in beer, my interest got piqued, and I really got into what beer was and could be by drinking all across Western Europe, and going to these breweries that have been there for hundreds of years. And not only are they places or things that are on tap for you to just go and have a beer at, but the actual ingrained within the community and their stature and position in the community, and the importance of that. And that's what really inspired me to want to get into beer and do this. And I look at us coming into Wisconsin hat in hand with an opportunity that we want to really bring our vision and our experience and how we see the beer world to the Milwaukee and greater Wisconsin community as an extension of this vision of what a brewery can be, how important it can be. And, swagger to this. We want to do it the right way. We want to come in and find our people and find our place. But
Mm-hmm.
the way we do that is, we got to stay modest, and we've got to make sure that we're bringing our absolute best to Wisconsin. And we think that our beers are, we think we have a very different vision of even IPA coming from Chicago and what I see within the Wisconsin community, where there are world-class IPAs. I think that us coming there and showing what we're capable of will just continue to build and find our people within the community.
Yeah. How does that kind of show up in the beer? I mean, for those who haven't had, Solemn Oath's beer, like what should people be expecting on tap when the day comes?
Yeah, so we actually we just hired a new director of brewing operations last month. Daniel Ray came from Brothership Brewing, which was a smaller brewery in the southwest suburbs of Chicago, and for his accolades, he's got a World Beer Cup medal in double and hazy Imperial IPA. He's got FOBAB medals. He's an extreme talent within the Chicagoland community. But what that means for what we're going to be bringing and what Solemn Oath's really about is, our whole kind of vibe and ethos from the start is that we are constantly a work in progress. We are tweaking and fiddling and based on how we're approaching hop forward beers, we're constantly tweaking to make sure we're delivering the experience that we're seeking. Snaggletooth Bandana is an excellent example of that. We just rebuilt that beer this year. We took, that was I think our number 2 selling beer for a decade, and we took it off the market for 6 months because we wanted to work on it to bring it back to where we thought it should be and was in the experience that we've all kind of had from a hop perspective, especially for the West Coast and kind of more bitter focused, is like, how those beers felt 5 and 7 years ago versus how they feel now as we've gone through this kind of evolution from hazy and everything else with all the hop proliferation. We needed to ramp up in some different areas. We needed to create a different sensory experience. And, so to answer your question, we're focused on hop-centric beers. We're going to be doing a lot more. We have been this year and we'll be heading into next year. We're going to be doing some more kind of West Coast Pilsner and a lot of bitterness. And, for us and our beers, we're also heavily focused. Solemn Oath's core ethos has always been very dry. We want a dry experience, and we have we have limited release beers and even Small Wave, which is our number 1 beer, is a little bit sweeter profile, a very Chicago-inspired hazy IPA, kind of Citra Mosaic, and a little tweak we've been doing there as well. But at the end of the day, our goal is to make world-class clean beers and provide a space and an experience and curate and make sure it's a very welcoming space for all people. And we take a lot of pride in finding our different subcultures that we like to tap into and make sure that people have a home where they can throw their style of events, and we'll be doing some kind of unique and different opportunities. It's not just we don't do trivia nights or that sort of thing. We're really utilizing our space as a second home for a lot of people to come in and utilize and earn our spot in that community.
Have you seen models of this? There are tap rooms in Milwaukee that have Indeed comes to mind, right in the not too far from 1840 there. That's a Twin Cities brewery, that tap room and brewery. When was that? 2018 or something like 2019 maybe.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. And how does that? I mean, have you? What are you looking at to say, yeah, this can work and this is how it's going to work? I mean, obviously, your own experience in Chicago plays a role here, but is there something that you've seen in Milwaukee where, hey, this works, this doesn't, that kind of, gave you the confidence to say, yeah, we can do this. We're going to do this.
Our trust and belief in ourselves. I think to your point, I think we're in an unprecedented era of beer, right? Like, we don't always know the details behind the business structures of a lot of people, but when 21st Amendment gets shut down or something like that, like True in Colorado, like when we see those kind of breweries not making it through, it's troubling. It's hard. It's, I think, even 1840 with their unique position too, but like, it sucks, right? Like, I think, the important place that they hold within the community, everything they've worked hard to build. And, I think we're in a tough time in beer right now. And, it's not just a quality of the liquid standpoint, because, everyone we just mentioned had world-class beer.
Right.
And, I think our goal is to, I've said it a couple of times, but is to find our spot and our balance within a community. We think like that. In Naperville, we were the first production brewery. I started working with them in 2010. We opened up in 12, but we were the first production brewery in Naperville since the 1870s, which was the Stanger Brewery. Stanger Brewery's brewmaster. So the Stanger Brewery was the last production brewery in the city of Naperville, which is it's like the third or fourth biggest city in Illinois.
Yeah.
It's a large suburb, and the Stanger Brewery, their brewmaster was Adolf Coors. And
okay.
Yeah, and
I think he ended up doing all right after the
he ended up doing okay. But so with their, I can remember the conversations with us working with city council when we're, writing our own liquor license and working with their attorneys to write what our liquor license needed to be. And it's like, well, you want to open up a bar in an industrial park? Like, this is a zoning nightmare. We don't understand what's happening, right? But so there was that kind of spot where we had to find our place within that community and do something a little bit different. In Chicago, we're a suburban brewery, earning respect for people coming into the city. We've got two massively different cultures in those two situations. And in Wisconsin, it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a challenge for us to make sure that we're putting everybody in a successful position. But I think we can earn our spot. I know we can, and I think the experience people are going to have with Solemn Oath is going to be different. We come from a place of love. Our tagline at the brewery is "Love is Law." It's been like that for 13 years, and we want to find our spot and earn our position, and we'll do that with beers. We'll do that with events and the space that we're going to provide for the community, and in the respect that we're going to serve to everybody that came before us, including everybody that's in our surrounding area and the breweries that we've lost along the way. Our job is to honor them and take the torch now.
How is this going to look? I mean, a lot of the people watching this are going to have been to 1840. I mean, what are your plans for the space in terms of like layout? I mean, you mentioned, I think I kind of misunderstood it, that brewing won't be happening, at least initially. When do you see that phasing in, or like kind of talk a little bit about the space and how you plan to make it your own?
So we just signed last week, so this is still very fresh. We've obviously been working with on our side and behind the scenes as we've been working on it. I think some of the core pieces and structures for the tap room itself are going to be familiar and in place. We don't need to move water just to move water and spend money on that, right? So, a lot of that infrastructure is going to be in place, but we've got some ideas for different layouts and different pieces that we want to bring to the inside. For Chicago, for example, our tap room down there, that's that kind of European-inspired Northwoods dive bar is, it's called Still Life on the side. Mm-hmm. We do have a brand that we're going to be working on for this experience too. So, we've got some ideas on how to bring that into life, and I don't want to give too much away. We've got more coming, but we're working hard on it, making sure that people are going to get the Solemn Oath experience, and we're excited to share that as we kind of move forward. I just realized too, I didn't answer one question before, as far as is there a model that really fits our ability to be successful at this? And no, not really. I think we've seen a lot of breweries do kind of, for lack of a better term, a satellite location, right? Obviously, Indeed, that you mentioned as well, they've certainly found their home there. But I think it's brewery by brewery. But what I do know and what I do think about often is, really since even Revolution did it in our timeline, when's the last time that any brewery, especially within the Midwest, became a regional brewery? When's the last time that was a brewer that came in that became relevant regionally? What does that even mean anymore? So I think the definition of a regionally important brewery, and if we're based in Chicago, there's lots of great beer in Wisconsin. Why should anybody care about Solemn Oath? Well, we think a bridge to that is to make sure that we're investing in the state, and we're building a home in the state and finding our people in the state. And I think this bridge is how we're choosing to kind of do that. But in the last 15 years, I can't think of other than Rev's kind of amazing rise from a volume standpoint and their success. Like who Bell's 4 years ago.
Eyes are open about the challenges here. I mean, that's a great point. Timeline wise, middle of next year is the plan. But you've got a kind of a pop-up coming soon. Can you tell us about that? And I think something that this kind of might point a little bit to the way that you're thinking about earning the trust and being, a good neighbor. Go ahead.
Yeah, on December 18th, Thursday, December 18th, from 4 to 9 p.m., we are going to be taking over and doing a pop-up at the Supermoon Beer Company space. Rob's obviously been a longtime friend. We've collaborated a bunch of times, and so we're going to kind of take over his space for the evening and do a pop-up. I think if anybody is kind of curious about, what Solemn Oath is and what we do, I think this would be a good time to come out, meet us. I'll be hanging out. Our brewers will be hanging out, and a bunch of the team, and really learn about our beers beyond what maybe you've found on a shelf in Wisconsin already. So we're coming up. I think we're doing 9 draft lines. We're going to be having beer. We'll pack the coolers with beer to go, but we've got a few surprises in there as well. So if you want to learn what Solemn Oath's about, and come meet me and hang out, and we'd love the opportunity to say hello to the community and get to know some people.
And I mean, if I may editorialize just a bit here, I mean, I think like Rob's, we have so much respect for Supermoon on Badger Beer Report, and I think there's so much ethos there, and that seems like if they're kindred spirits there in that regard. I think that's really, I think it's a very exciting development for Milwaukee to have Solemn Oath here. So that's great. I think that's kind of everything that I had. Is there anything else that you wanted to add about coming to Milwaukee or Wisconsin, or anything else that I missed? Tell us more.
No, again, for me, this is my, personally, this is a dream come true for me. And, our experience and what we're going to bring to the community, I think is, what I view as a world-class beer community. I have the utmost respect for the breweries that are established in Wisconsin. We've done collaborations with a bunch of them. We've got a few coming up as well that we'll announce here in the coming months. But for me personally, this is something I've always really wanted to do. And, I think, our ability to bring Solemn Oath to Milwaukee, to have our own space, is going to be, something that is going to add some value. I think people will learn to love us once they get to know us personally. And, our goal ultimately too is to make sure we're sharing some world-class beers and turning some heads on that side too. So, we're excited to not only enter Wisconsin, not only enter Milwaukee, we're excited for our hyper-localized, just getting to make some new friends within the Bayview community. We've obviously had, long-standing relationships with, people like Rob Zellemeyer and BJ at Bernhardt's, Katie Rose.
Places where there's great beer.
Yeah, Katie Rose and the Good Kind crew, and we are honored to have this chance, and we really want to come in and do this well, and we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. We're going to have we are a mix for the people that do know us, they'll get it, but for those that don't, we are a mix of high and low brow. I love and appreciate Rob and Supermoon and his his fancy glassware and all of that as well. But sometimes I just want a bitter IPA, Rob. So I think our interests and what people will see from our beer program and Dan and what Dan Malik and Danny Bocassini and Kevin and what our whole beer ops crew and New Danny, as we call him, what our whole beer ops crew brings to this. I think Milwaukee's going to be excited to see what we're doing next, and we're also excited to work on some uniquely Wisconsin projects too, from both the barrel aging and making sure we're getting some true Wisconsin made beer up there as well. And I'm just thrilled and pumped to be able to share the Solemn story and make some new friends.
Awesome. Well, John, thank you for coming on Badger Beer Hour. The dog is barking finally. But thank you for coming on, and best of luck. We'll see you in December.
All right. Look forward to it.